So Cynthia, you finished a course of Deep TMS at Kadima, and that took about the whole thing was about 8 weeks, I think, start to finish. Tell us first of all a little bit about how you're feeling now compared to when you started. Has it made a significant difference?
For me, it's just made a phenomenal difference. My life before was depressed. I was in horrible pain all the time. I'm bedridden because of an medical issue I have, and I was circling the drain. And this took a while to kick in before I felt anything, but when I started to feel things, it was really remarkable.
What areas of your life, how's it impacted your quality of life specifically?
There's really no area that it hasn't impacted.
Wow, that's great.
I mean, I'm now sleeping where before I couldn't get to sleep and couldn't stay asleep. I'm now sleeping through the night. I, as you know, was having really severe cognitive difficulties when I first came here because of my condition, and really carrying on a cohesive conversation was very difficult for me, as were simple things we take for granted, like which button does what on the remote control, and being able to type on a keyboard, which I've done all my life, I was having difficulty with. And while I know this treatment wasn't aimed at improving those things, it has improved them all for me. I had, in addition to those little silly, mundane, daily difficulties, I was having difficulty with word finding, and really with being able to think something through. I mean, just simple little things we take for granted, like how do I get from point A to B when I'm in the car? How do I, when I call a doctor, what do I need to say? What do I need to get out of the conversation? And I would just draw a blank in those situations. And I'm still a little bumpy because what I have won't go away, but this has improved general, not only cognitive, but physical and emotional areas of my life that were really severely impacted.
Wow, so it seems like it's really been an across-the-board benefit to you.
Yeah, it has been across the board, which I didn't expect. You know, I was last year, I had a number of times where my condition was so dire that I was starting to think about suicide. And that I didn't want to live that way. And this has made that go away. I don't think like that anymore. But in addition to that, just my overall outlook, I mean, I'm starting to have interest in things again. And when we first started this, I was just hoping it would make me not suicidal.
Right.
And I had read that it could impact your pain, because I have very severe pain all the time, and it impacted that much more than I ever anticipated it would. I mean, I didn't expect it to go away, but I didn't expect to be able to cut my meds by a third or a half.
Right.
Added benefit.
Yeah.
You know, so whatever this is doing up there in my little brain, it has very far-reaching results.
That's great. I get thrilled every time I hear great results like that. And you've definitely, you know, this was not, your first time trying things. I mean, you've been through many, many different trials of medications and various things, and not achieved the level of functioning. Is that correct? That you've recently achieved?
Yeah, I've seen doctors in almost every specialty, and except for writing me prescriptions for meds, none of which I could tolerate, no one was able to have any impact. Not one doctor. And that's, you know, I have a geneticist, a metabolics, a rheumatologist, 2 neurologists, you know, my psychologist, my regular internist, and more.
You start your own medical center.
Yeah, but no one was able to, you know, we know what I have, but no one was able to offer me anything. So, I mean, again, I just, you know, would not in a million years have thought I'm going to come get this treatment and have it impact not only my cognitive and emotional abilities, but to impact me physically the way it has. Just, you know, tells us how much of it is related to the brain.
So yeah, it's made a huge difference. It pretty much has, in my opinion, has saved her life. So thank you.
I was living by the clock to take my pain med. You know, oh, it's 6 a.m., oh, it's 12 o'clock, oh, it's 6 p.m. And taking a very high dose of pain med, and that, you know, even is beyond what is normally prescribed because I can take so few medicines. And I had dropped it back while we were during the treatments. I had dropped it back maybe the last 2 or 3 weeks by a third. Yesterday, I only took 4 doses of 1 pill, whereas usually I take 5 to 6 doses of 3 pills.
Oh my, that's
I mean, that's huge. And I have to add, Dr. Feifel, you are one in I don't know how many. I'm not even going to say a million, because for someone like me that's had so many doctors that that really don't want to go outside, you know, their box of practice, and at least it seems as though the compassion is absent. You've got it in spades, and I really can't tell you how uplifting that was for me. You've even made me cry.